Good morning, everyone. So last Friday also we had some small revision of thermodynamics, and we'll continue the same today. Okay, and some see thermodynamics. There are four things. If it is well understood, rest of things become extremely simple. And key part of thermodynamics is this relationship. And if we have a mathematical as well as intuitive understanding of this relationship, our understanding of thermodynamics becomes much better. It's not a difficult topic. And all cases, whenever you think of to better understand thermodynamics, we should visualize how the process takes place. So what is process to understand initially? Later on, you can do without the aid of this kind of image. So this is how the gas is contained in a cylinder. This is smooth piston, and several parameters can be varied. What are parameters which can be varied? If I keep some weight here, if I drop some more sand here, the pressure changes. If I remove sand, the pressure decreases. And if I keep this entire cylinder, if I all side insulated, heat transfer does not take place. Suppose I keep it insulated like this. And how do I control the temperature of the gas? I bring it in contact with an object, but suppose I bring in contact with the heater, which is 100 degrees centigrade. If we keep contact, it will acquire 100 degrees centigrade temperature. But if the heater is there, again I bring it in contact with the other heated object, which is 101 degrees centigrade. So progressively, if I keep bringing this cylinder in contact with a reservoir at a gradually increasing temperature, the temperature also keep rising. It is transfer of heat is taking place. But I can control the temperature by making sure with object it comes to thermal equilibrium too. So temperature of the gas can be controlled by keeping it contact with some object which is at a particular temperature. Pressure can be controlled, and some way volume also can be controlled. So volume also can be controlled by, if I keep this piston position fixed, volume will remain fixed. If I increase it, so suppose whatever length is there, increase the length by 1%, volume also increase by 1%. So all the parameters can be controlled. So when we understand how this is controlled, then we come to each step and this equation. And this equation intuitively very simple. When we supply heat to the gas, it is a form of energy being supplied. This energy, since it remains conserved, where would it go? So if heat is supplied, partly it can go into something called internal energy. Understanding of internal energy is very important. What is our understanding of internal energy? Internal energy is nothing but summation of kinetic energy of all gas atoms or molecules put together. And from kinetic theory basis, we have deducted the total kinetic energy is equal to F by 2 nRT. Understanding the relationship is important. And in case of monatomic gas, what is F by 2? Monatomic gas, we can visualize it like this. Diatomic gas, we can visualize like this. It has translation. Plus, in addition, it has 2 rotations also. And polyatomic gas also we can visualize like this. This is 3 translations plus rotation along all 3 axes. Okay, so this is something what we have to have good understanding of internal energy, which is this term. Where this term comes from, we need to understand. Work done also we need to understand what is the work done. So if you visualize this, if the piston moves up, work done is positive, expansion is positive, and work done, the definition is same, force into displacement, but force into displacement also comes in form of PdV. So heat supplied, that's the equation. And when we talk about heat supplied, see, most cases we are concerned about relationship. When we supply certain heat, what change in temperature it will bring about. So in case of solid, we have seen delta Q is equal to NC delta T. Sorry, MC delta T. This was specific heat capacity. But in case of gas, we take NC delta T. And here what we understand here, so when we supply certain heat, some part goes into raising the temperature, some part does work. So depending on how the heat is shared, if how much work is done for same change in internal energy, this term dQ will change, hence the heat capacity also will change. Molar heat capacity will change. So one part is what we understand from here, or I think we should get a good grasp of the fact that molar heat capacity depends on process. So I'll come to that part again as we proceed further. So understanding this equation has to be very clear, and most part is application of this. So this is one equation. Another PV is equal to nRT is a ideal guess we always use. That's always valid. And when we talk about processes, how there are three parameters. Other parameters are derived parameters, PV and T. How are they varied with relation to each other? And if they follow a particular relationship, that relationship can be expressed in terms of additional mathematical equation in addition to PV is equal to nRT. That's how processes. And simple process work done. And we have gone through the isothermal process. And isothermal process, we'll use this thing again. Understanding of the graph has to be clear. This is T1 and this is T2 and this is T3. And its shape is point, temperature will not change. But if I move from this point, so between T1, T2, and T3, which is at higher temperature, the one isotherm which at a higher level indicates higher temperature. So any point below the isotherm curve is at a lower temperature. Any point above is at a higher temperature. So that is something we should easily able to verify that part. And so yes, here, so T3 is higher than T2 and T2 is higher than T1. Any 2 points on a particular isotherm are at the same temperature. So we done some work done and all. This we have done in case of isothermal process. Isothermal process, change in internal energy is 0. So how would, can you now, going back to previous slide, can you think of how would you carry out isothermal expansion? Suppose I want to carry out isothermal expansion and verify this law is this kind of curve I get or not. How would I carry out isothermal expansion? Can someone think of in terms of practically step by step, if I have this kind of arrangement, how would I carry out isothermal expansion? Do we get a, can I relate to real life? What is isothermal expansion?
The temperature should be allowed to exchange with the atmosphere.
So first of all, this container what I have is a conducting material. Suppose I take a copper container and it is exposed to, suppose I want to maintain the temperature at 80 degrees. How do I maintain temperature degree? I can keep it in a water bath and I maintain the temperature of water at 80 degrees centigrade. So as long as it's exchanging, it is free to exchange heat with the surrounding, the gas inside the cylinder will always remain at the same temperature as surrounding. So the temperature is constant. I want to carry out isothermal expansion. How would I carry out? What would I do? So initially I have some state, but there's something I put some sand here. This initial state. I want to carry out isothermal expansion. How would the isothermal expansion be carried out?
Should be slow.
It should be slow. So all the places we are talking about, something should not be sudden. How would I do it? What I need to do to carry out isothermal expansion here?
We should move the piston by a little and
should I physically pull up the piston? That's work done. Then I'm doing external work. See, can I pull up the piston? Will that lead to isothermal expansion? Then problem is, moment I put up the piston, but I'm doing some external work. Is that the right way? Or is there some other way? What I need to do, see that it makes sense or not. If I have put some sand here, if I remove some small quantity of sand, what will happen?
Yeah, it'll be constant pressure.
So what will happen? Slightly I have decreased the pressure. So I can't change the temperature. I can't change the temperature, but if I have to increase volume, how do I increase the volume here? So if I slightly remove some, so assume that there are 1,000 grains of sand, I pick up 1 grain, it goes up a little, second grain, third grain, slowly start unloading from here. What I find, the piston will gradually keep moving up. And as I keep moving, as I keep going up, what happened to pressure? Pressure is gradually reducing and the piston will keep going up. When the piston is going up, is it exchanging any heat with the surrounding?
It is.
It is. To maintain the temperature, it is exchanging it. So are you getting a sense of what is constant temperature process? How do I carry out isothermal process? Kathy, have you understood what I'm saying? As what is isothermal process? Are you getting? Is it just a word, or can you physically visualize what is isothermal process?
Yes, sir.
Karthikeyan? So if I have to conduct an experiment, if I keep the load and depending on I keep the measured mass here, I have keep changing mass. Is it possible to have this kind of plot? How do I get this plot? What I need to measure here? Is it possible to conduct an experiment and plot different points here?
Yes, sir.
And so what I do, depending on if weight I keep here on the top, and I can calculate pressure. Pressure will be equal to atmospheric pressure plus whatever weight is kept divided by area. And as keep changing weight here, I know what the pressure I am reducing, and volume will be proportional to the length of the vessel. I keep measuring what is the position of piston, and I can calculate that. So you understand what is isothermal process is. So it's just not a word. You should understand how does it happen, how it can be carried out, what does it involve. So when I carry out this process, will there be heat transfer? Yes, there will be heat transfer. Will it absorb heat? Will the heat transfer take place in this direction, or will it take place in this direction? Will this A type of transfer or B type of transfer? How would I figure it out?
We should see whether the temperature increases or decreases.
Temperature is constant. It's isothermal process. How else I can figure it out? Which way the heat will flow? So here also, suppose I have a container. So if I have to maintain 80 degrees centigrade, if this is absorbing heat, what will happen? To maintain 80 degree temperature for water, I need to supply heat here. So which way is the heat transfer taking place? Which way can I figure it out? Can anyone think of the graph given? I'm carrying out thermal expansion. Can you tell me which way the heat transfer in the piston will take place?
B way, sir.
Ahlad, can you tell me which way the heat transfer will take place and why? Can we relate to this one? What is happening in this case? When I look at this curve, what is happening? Is the work done be positive or negative? Suppose I move from A to B. During A to B process, what has happened? The pressure has not remained constant. It's variable pressure process. And this is something I cannot directly calculate. This is the quantity of work done. Work done is positive. So gas has done some work. Where from the energy to do work has come? It has come from the heat supplied here. It receives heat from the surrounding. That heat what it receives does not change its internal energy. Entire heat goes in form of work done. So whatever work has been done, where from the energy has come, it has absorbed heat from the surrounding. If there is unless it is a large pool of reservoir, what will happen? If it is small pool of reservoir, the temperature of water will start dropping unless we supply heat to the water also, so that the temperature remains constant. Am I making some sense or something all going over the head? Jaideep, are you following something?
Yes, sir. Following, sir.
Is it making some easy common sense, or so it's a convoluted or something?
No, sir. It's easy.
Easy. No? So just think through and try to relate to physical significance. That gives you better understanding of what happens here. And it was not so difficult a question. Okay, it will absorb heat. So what happens in this isothermal process? Yeah, this is a relationship. But in this case, many cases, what happens? So in isothermal process, whatever heat I have supplied here, entire thing is gone. So can you tell me, based on this logic, what will be the heat capacity for the isothermal process? Heat capacity tells you amount of heat which need to be supplied to raise its temperature of, raise the temperature of 1 mole by 1 degree K, 1 K. So what will be the heat capacity of isothermal process? How much heat I need to supply to raise the temperature by 1 degree?
Infinite.
Infinite. Does it make logical sense also? Do you understand why it is infinite? Yeah, so that's something I can relate to. So here, see, every process, what is happening, this proportion will keep on changing. That's what will happen in the process. The process ratio of this heat is supplied, it goes, this proportion will keep changing. Some part here, some part here. And the division or distribution, relative distribution will keep changing for each type of process. We'll try and follow that also today. So that's isothermal process. And whenever we have isothermal process, we also did, in terms of understanding the slope, we can calculate work done. Work done is integration. And the slope also, we did calculate the PV is equal to constant. We can easily calculate slope, which comes to this. And we understood why the slope is negative, but keep on decreasing. Okay. So above isotherm, temperature rises, falls. Adiabatic process. What is adiabatic process? Some of you think and define me what is adiabatic process. What is adiabatic process?
All the work done is going into increasing internal energy.
Heat remains constant.
Huh?
Heat remains constant.
No, I can better term, not heat remains constant. Can you tell me some better way? Heat remains constant is no meaning. Heat is energy in transit. Heat is only in terms of transfer. What is happening? So if I have a piston here, how would I carry out that process? Tell me. So I have given example of how would you carry out if you give the isothermal expansion. Now, similar way, can you tell me how would you carry out adiabatic process? Let's see how would you carry out adiabatic expansion.
Be insulated from the surrounding.
Yeah. So previous case, what we had done, previous case, we have kept it open to the surrounding, and surrounding were at a constant temperature, it was allowed to exchange heat. What I have to do if I have to carry out adiabatic expansion, first thing what I do, insulate. It is not allowed to, it doesn't receive heat from the surrounding or something, it is insulated. Then how would I carry out, what else I need to do to carry out, just insulation will not happen, led to expansion. What else I need to do now after this? I surrounded so that heat transfer doesn't take place. Delta Q becomes 0. What else I need to do to have adiabatic expansion? Insulation has ensured delta Q is 0, adiabatic. But what would lead gas to expand? What else need to be done? Can someone think of what else need to be done in this case for adiabatic?
Pull the piston up.
Again, you're telling piston up. Last time also you're pulling piston up. Why are you
Remove.
hesitant on pulling the piston up? Why
Remove.
can't you put some reduce the weight on the top of the piston?
Reduce the weight, sir.
Reduce the weight. So gradually, if I keep reducing the weight, previous thing I also done something, now also I'm doing something. But what I noticed earlier also, suppose I have reduced 10 grams of weight here. It led to some expansion in case of isothermal process. Same 10 grams, if I remove now, I find it has a different expansion. It will not have a same expansion. Okay, Ahlad, have you understood? Yes, Ahlad. What
Sir, we
doubt
do
you have?
work in removing the weight, right?
Pardon me?
We do work in removing the weight, right?
Yes, we have done work, but if I take this whole gas as a system, yes, you're right, we have done work in the system. But if I'm looking at this whole, if I've taken the gas as a system and this I've taken the boundary. Okay. So I have done some work outside. I have reduced the pressure slightly. Okay. So I have reduced the work pressure slightly. But if I look at what is happening to energy level of gas trapped inside, has the work been done on the gas?
No, sir.
No. So Ahlad, you have fine point, but this is something when I look at, when I remove this small weight from here, or I can say I have reduced the pressure slightly. So when I remove the pressure slightly, if heat transfer is not taking place, you can visualize when you remove this one, what will happen. So have you understood this 2 point? First case, what I did, I removed the same weight. It went up by some distance delta L in case of isothermal process. In case of adiabatic process also, what happens when I insulate, previous case I have not insulated, I have insulated. Now this delta L dash is not equal to this. I'll find these two are different. How do I understand which one is more? Which case will the expansion be more for same change in pressure? What if I try and figure out reduction in pressure is same? How do I make same change in pressure? If I remove same weight in both the cases, change in reduction in pressure is same, but change in volume will not be same. How would I figure out the change in volume? And that's what we understood. Now we go to, so first we understood what is adiabatic process. This is adiabatic expansion. What does this curve indicate? So this pressure, this was the original pressure. If I remove, what does this point indicate? Both cases I have reduced the pressure by same amount. In this case, in case of isothermal, this is isothermal process, this is adiabatic process. Which case will the expansion be more? For same reduction in pressure starting from the same point. Do you all understand these two curves? One is isothermal curve, one is adiabatic curve. How do you identify which is isothermal from the same point? One is adiabatic expansion, one is isothermal expansion, one is adiabatic expansion. How do you identify those two? Shravani, how do you identify which is isothermal, which is adiabatic? How did you figure out between the two? There are two curves given. How do you figure out which out of the two curves, which are both are expansion curve, volume is going up? Which is isothermal, which is adiabatic? How do you figure out between the two?
Sir, like W1 is greater than W2.
Work done? Okay,
Yes.
but okay, so anybody else can add, how else we identify? Suppose we are not sure. We didn't know anything initially. Huh?
Same decrease in pressure, more volume is increased. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no volume.
And you know, we did something like slope also. Let us say, suppose I have this equation, adiabatic curve, if I have PV diagram. What I find here, see, when I look at mathematically, if you look at this, you understand significance of the steeper slope. So here, that's why we calculate slope. If I carry out a isothermal process, adiabatic process, both processes will be a curve and it will have particular slope at the starting point. If I draw a tangent here, if I draw a tangent here, I want to understand which will be more steep. And that I can understand from this expression. Slope of isothermal curve was minus P by V. Slope of adiabatic curve is minus gamma times Py. It is more. Gamma is always more than 1. Hence, this is steeper. And from a steeper curve, we understand when actually carry out that kind of expansion, I find in case of adiabatic curve, if I remove same weight from the piston, in case of adiabatic, it will lead to lesser expansion. Okay. And what will happen to temperature when an adiabatic expansion if it take place? Let's come back to the whole process. What would happen in this case? What do you guess what will happen? In this case, what we have done, again, let's look at what is the process I'm carrying out. I'm carrying out adiabatic expansion. Are we clear how I'm carrying out adiabatic expansion? I have insulated and I have removed certain small quantity of weight from here. Okay, so it has moved up. Can you terms of energy, what is happening? Where from this work done energy has come? It has done some work. Where from this energy has come?
From the internal energy.
So what has happened? Some part of internal energy, kinetic energy of all molecules got together has been transferred here. So what will happen to internal energy if it is some internal energy has been converted into work done?
Temperature
Internal energy will decrease. And what is internal decrease means what will happen? Temperature will fall. So if I reduce weight from here, what is the effect of reduction of weight when it is insulated? Reduction of weight from the piston leads to reduction in pressure. Pressure reduces, volume increases. It leads to positive work done. And as positive work done, since the energy is not coming from outside, this energy which is required for positive work done is coming from internal energy is getting converted into work done. Since internal energy decreases, the temperature will fall. If I have a temperature here, if I reduce this weight here, I'll find the temperature reading will go down. Is this step by step clear? So can you, Disha, can you tell me what are the 3-4 steps I mentioned here? Have you followed all the steps logically?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me what happened. What happens here?
So like first we'll insulate the beaker from the surroundings so that
Right.
it's adiabatic.
Yeah.
And then we'll slowly reduce the weight so
Yes.
that the pressure decreases.
Yes.
And then the volume will increase. The
Yes.
internal energy will be converted into work done.
Volume increase means what? Just one step you miss. Volume increase implies what?
It's
Volume will increase,
expanding.
work is being done.
Yeah.
Volume increase, work done. So volume increase, work done. Then you say next step, yes, where from the energy for work done is coming.
From internal energy.
From internal.
So internal energy decreases and there's the temperature.
So basically those expression of formula or graph what we had, we are trying to get a sense of why it is happening and more of intuitive understanding also. So I hope we have a better sense of what is adiabatic process, why the temperature falls. Another way to understand from the graph that we understood from energy perspective, even from the graph also, can we deduct that expansion will lead to fall in temperature? How can we conclude that adiabatic expansion will lead to fall in temperature? Can you give some other argument also to support the view in case of adiabatic expansion, the temperature will fall? Any other way? What is the curve 1? So curve 1 indicates isothermal process. And this is isothermal expansion. And second curve is starting from the same point. This is adiabatic expansion. From this curve itself, can I prove that in case of adiabatic expansion, the temperature will fall?
Anything below the isothermal.
Yeah. So one we can give what is happening in case of expansion is going below isothermal curve. Anything which goes below isothermal curve, so this isotherm is for temperature T. Any point below this isotherm is at a temperature lower than T. So since after expansion it falls below isothermal curve, it means temperature will fall. So from curve also we understand, from logical energy angle also we understand adiabatic expansion temperature falls. And that's how adiabatic process is carried out. Similar way, can you all tell me now how would constant pressure and constant volume process will be carried out? So let me see now what I want you to tell me. How do I carry out a constant pressure expansion?
You won't touch the fan now. It'll just be.
I want to carry out, yeah, this, let me ask someone. Constant pressure expansion. So I have this initial state. What I need to do to carry out constant pressure expansion? How would I carry out constant pressure expansion?
We supply heat and the piston will have sand on it, which is
Yeah. So basically what we'll have, constant pressure means we are not changing any weight on the piston. This remains constant. As long as weight on the piston remains constant and we are doing things slowly, the pressure will remain same. But I have to do, if I want to expand, something else need to be done. So what need to be done? If I start heating it slowly, I give a small amount of heat here. What will happen when I give a small amount of heat? I'll find if I start heating it up, I think intuitively also we can feel what will happen when I heat it up. I find this piston start moving up. So what has happened? Two things I'll notice when I give heat also, and after transferring small amount of heat, if I check little later, I give small amount of heat and again insulate. I have given a fixed dose of heat, and after that I have just contained and allow it to come to a state of equilibrium. What would I find? What is the effect of transfer of a small dose of heat? I find the piston will move up, and anything else also will notice here.
the internal energy will increase.
If I check the temperature also will rise. So what I find when I transfer the heat, keeping the pressure in, it will this expansion will take place. At the same time, temperature also will rise. So what has happened? This energy, what has been given, some part has gone here and some part as well has gone here. And for a particular type of gas, it is monatomic gas. This ratio remains constant. The ratio proportion of heat which goes into internal energy and proportion of heat which goes into work done. Whatever may be the temperature, whatever may be the initial state, the ratio in which it get distributed remains constant. Now we'll come to that part in terms of mathematical relationship also, how the ratio will remain constant. So certain gas, monatomic, this ratio will have a separate ratio. For diatomic, it will have a different ratio, and polyatomic it will have a different ratio. But whatever may be temperature, even if the gas is at 100K or 300K, the ratio will always be constant for a particular atomicity of a gas. How would you carry out a constant volume process? So constant volume process, expansion and compression won't be there. If constant volume pressure, keeping volume constant, can I increase the pressure?
No, sir.
No, so what will happen? I want to increase the pressure, but I don't want volume to change. How would that happen?
Fix the piston in one place.
First of volume not changing means we have to fix the piston. So volume is fixed now. But I want to increase the pressure now. So the pressure is so this okay. So how would I increase the pressure? Supply heat. But in this case, what is happening? See, understand difference. Previous case, when in case of constant pressure, the heat what I supplied, some part has gone into internal energy, some part has gone into work done. But in case of constant volume process, what is happening? What is happening to heat? Whatever heat I supply, it goes only to one thing. What is that it going into? Only the internal energy. So which case do I need to supply more heat for same change in temperature? Constant volume process or constant pressure process? For same change in temperature, which process delta Q has to be higher?
Constant pressure.
Okay, constant pressure, what is happening? The delta Q, what I supply, some part goes into, only a part is going into change in internal energy. In case of constant volume process, entire thing is going into change in internal energy. So that's why depending on the process, the heat I supply, if only a smaller proportion goes into work done, it means I need to supply more heat to carry out same change in internal energy. And that's why the different process, you have different value of Q. Okay. That's how I hope understanding of process kind of thing. Now, okay. There's something called isotropic process. We have constant volume process, constant inertia process, and different cases, different work done. And we define something as isotropic process. Most cases, all those things can be written in something like this: PV raised to power some real number is equal to constant. So what does it mean? If in addition to PV is equal to nRT, it will follow P1 V1 raised to power A is equal to P2 V2 raised to power A. So this is called isotropic process. Why do we call it isotropic process? I think one more important thing you understand is when we talk of heat capacity. What is in case of gas also? What is saying? Delta Q is equal to what? NC delta theta. What did this see? This is molar heat capacity. And we said molar heat capacity. What is molar heat capacity for constant volume process? What is the value for constant volume process? C equal to C is equal to CV if it is constant volume process, and it is equal to F by 2 R. You remember this one? So what does this mean? It is independent of temperature. What does independent of temperature mean? See, this term, specific heat capacity, the molar heat capacity, there is no temperature term here. It is independent of temperature. So how do I explain what independent of temperature means? Are we clear about what does independent of temperature mean? It will not depend on temperature. So what does it mean? It only depends on degree of freedom. So if I take F for all diatomic gas. So diatomic gas, if I take oxygen, if I take hydrogen, if I take nitrogen, all of them will have same molar heat capacity and it's independent of temperature. What does independent of temperature mean? It means if I have 1 mole of, say, oxygen gas, if I have 1 mole of oxygen gas, how much heat I need to supply to raise its temperature by 1 K? How much heat I need to supply to raise temperature by 1 K? That's what my molar heat capacity is. Molar heat capacity is heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole by unit temperature. That is equal to, in case of oxygen, it will be equal to 5R by 2. That's the amount of heat I need to supply to raise by 1 K. Does it depend what the initial temperature is? Whether it is from 200 K to 201 K, amount of heat required will be this. Whether it's 320 to 321, still the amount required is this. It is independent of temperature. It does not vary with temperature. That's what independence of temperature means. Similar way, if I have isotropic process, I can prove even in case of isotropic process, the molar heat capacity is independent of temperature. And any general isotropic process, it can have any value. It can have 1, it can have 0.2, it can have 0.1, it can have 1.2, 5, 10, any number. We can define as an isotropic process. It becomes a general process and it makes certain things easier. Okay, so I hope independence of temperature you can understand. For isotropic process, I can calculate work done. I'm not going to use a simple integration. And when you simply integrate, we get this expression. And work done, and since it P2 in terms of temperature, it can be written as NR, T2 minus T1, which is delta T, 1 minus A. A is the exponent of P, exponent of P being 1. So what is power of P here? P power always be 1. Then in that case, P, when P power, exponent of P being 1, what is the exponent of P is actually A value here. So I get this as work done. So what is the advantage of this? Now I can substitute this work done in my original relationship, which is delta Q is equal to work done plus du. Okay, so this expression, I have just put those values. And from this expression, can I get this value of C for isotropic process? I divide the whole thing by N delta T. I get the value of molar heat capacity for isotropic process, a general formula. If I divide, what is the value I get for isotropic process? C is equal to R divided by 1 minus A plus CV. So which means if any process, if I can express in this form, very quickly I can calculate heat capacity of the process. And once I can calculate heat capacity, I can calculate heat required to bring about a particular change in temperature. Is this understood so far, Anish?
Yes, sir.
Are you clear what is it? Have you understood what is it, temperature independence? See, are you understanding what is temperature dependence and temperature independence? So think it over, and this is something maybe if some of not clear, I'll try that again. So this is what, now let's see, this is another thing which you learned today. And okay, so what we understand from here, what is the, okay. Now, what is the, okay, I'll come to this part also. Okay, so what does it represent here? This term is proportional to delta Q. This term is proportional to work done, and this proportional to delta U. So this one, so what is the ratio of delta Q to delta U for any isotropic process? Suppose I ask, what is the fraction of heat supplied goes into internal energy. What does this term du by dq represent? Proportion of heat supplied which goes into increasing internal energy. How much this ratio will be? This ratio will be same as this ratio. It will be equal to CV by C. If I calculate this one, so this particular expression gives you relative distribution of heat supplied among internal energy and work done. Okay, and we'll take some question. It represents relative share of energy constant for isotropic process. Okay, let's take suppose I make this statement in a particular process. We find work done when heat supplied is equal to increase in internal energy. Then what is the heat capacity of the process equal to 2 CV? See that statement, all of you understand this statement? When work done, when heat is supplied. So when heat is supplied, there's change in internal energy, there's also some work done. If work done is equal to increase in internal energy, then heat capacity for the process will be equal to 2 CV. Can someone justify this equation? This statement? Can anyone justify this statement? So I see whether the statement makes sense. What does this tell you? The dq is equal to what? Work done also is equal to du. So what I understand, what is delta q equal to? To delta u. It means nc delta t is equal to 2 ncv delta t. So because only half the energy is going into work done, and what you get is C is equal to 2 CV. So when is C greater than CV? So whenever this term is positive, C will be greater than CV. So part of the heat supplied is going into internal energy and the remaining part going into work done. And as the fraction of work done, as the proportion of work done keeps increasing, what will happen to C value? What will happen to its heat capacity? As the greater and greater proportion of work is done, for same change in internal energy, value of C will keep on rising. I'll try to explain in terms of perhaps graph also. Let's see, this is the point here. This is my initial point A. And this is isotherm T2. And between T2 and T3, which is higher temperature? T3 is a higher temperature. Let's say the difference between them is delta T. So from this point, any which way, if I go from this isotherm to the second isotherm, delta T is same or delta U is same. So whether from one, if I go like this, if I follow a process which goes like this, what is delta U? What is change in temperature? Change in temperature is delta T, or change in delta U also is equal to second process I can follow from here. In this case also delta U is same. But what is difference between B1 and B2? Which case will need more energy? Which case will need more heat? Both cases delta U is same, but here work done is 0, here work done is so much. So which will need more heat? A to B1 process or A to B2 process? A to B2 process will take more heat, because in addition to increasing internal energy, it is also doing work. What happens if I have a process like this, which has slope between isotherm? It is steeper than isotherm but flatter than adiabatic process. I have this process B3. Between this process and this process, which will have higher heat capacity? Nitya?
Yes, sir.
Is anything going into the head?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood what are the three processes? A to B1, A to B3, A to three different processes. One is going to B1 and B2, B3. What is same in all three processes?
Delta T.
Delta T is same. Because we are going from one particular isotherm to other isotherm, delta T is positive. And if delta T is same, some other quantity also same. Which other quantity is same?
Delta U.
Delta U also same. So delta U is same, but with delta Q also be same in all three processes? Do I need same amount of heat to bring about same change in temperature, or do I need different amount of heat?
Difference.
Why different amount of heat?
Because work done. would be
Work done is different. So, and which case heat required will be maximum? First process, second process, third process, and why?
First.
Actually, heat required is maximum in third process. Tell me why. Heat required is maximum in the third process. Heat required, see, delta U term is same. But whichever process the work done is largest, delta Q will become the same. Which case is the work done largest here? A to B2 or A to B3? In case of A to B3, this is the work done. So which process will have highest value of work delta Q? The third process. If delta Q is highest, the molar heat capacity, the third process will be largest. Nitya, is this understood or still not clear? Huh?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Understood? So which is more? And here I'm trying to give a significance why C varies. No, because C varies because same change. We are going from one isotherm to other isotherm. We can follow different path. Each path can be, if it is isotropic process, each path I can express in form PV raised to power some constant into is equal to constant. And each process will have particular value of C depending on for same delta U, how much is the work done. If work done is equal to delta U, it will be equal to 2CV. That's what I said here. And I hope some of you follow that point. Okay. Let's come to some numericals based on this. So in terms of formula, there are not many things. What formula we need to know? I think what we have done today, only new thing I have added today in terms of formula is this. Which formula I added? Heat capacity for an isotropic process and what is work done for an isotropic process. So any process, if you can convert in this form, I can easily calculate heat capacity. I can calculate work done. I can calculate whatever else is needed. Okay, that's the only thing new. Other rest all is trying to understand the basic equations. Let's try and go through some questions now. Gas is expanded from this. Please read the question and try and understand how to solve. Are we clear about this? See, we understand from here. See, as soon as I look at the curve, from here, as any process which goes towards PV process, goes towards right expansion process. This is constant pressure process, isobaric. Okay, isothermal and adiabatic. I hope we have understood the one which is steeper. This is adiabatic process, and this one is isothermal process. Now we have to, moment we think of internal energy, since internal energy is directly proportional to temperature, I can think of temperature. The only thing what I need to think of, it will have same relationship as delta T1, delta T2, and delta T3. So let me understand how would the temperature change in all three cases. So these are the final temperature in all cases. Among these three, let's see, this is temperature T1, this is T2, and this is T3. Which temperature is highest?
T1.
Of course, T1 is highest. So the order is something like this. T1 is greater than T2, is greater than T3. Hence, U1 also will be greater than U2. Sorry, now we come to delta. So this temperature is greater. Now, what will happen to change of delta U? Which case the delta U is positive, negative, and what is the order of delta U? So delta U1 is equal to what?
0 for isothermal.
0 for isothermal. Okay, here the temperature in isothermal, the temperature has remained same. How about first process?
Will be positive.
Positive here.
Negative in adiabatic.
Negative. Why it is negative in adiabatic?
Because the temperature is decreasing to expand the gas.
Yes. Temperature here, I think that's what he discussed also. Moment it goes below isotherm, the temperature falls. So delta U1 is positive. Delta U2 is 0. And delta U3 in adiabatic process is negative. They are given only relative terms, but we can get the sign also. We can easily get that part. Let's do the, okay. So read the question. And this question is about bulk modulus. So we start from this. Do we remember what the bulk, Kevin, can you tell me what is bulk modulus equal to? Kevin, what is bulk modulus? You done it last week also.
Minus P by.
Nothing you remember. Pressure, stress by strain. In this case,
Yes,
it's
sir,
modular
dP by
strain
V.
by relative strain. Okay. So I need dP by V. How do I get? I have this equation. And this is related to small changes. Whenever you have this equation, it can always be written like this. I think mentioned last time also, I'm doing it the second time. Next time I should not be required to do it. This is equal to constant. Okay, from here I can easily find dP by this relationship. I can substitute and solve. So whenever bulk modulus or any such questions are there, when equations are given, we can write in the differential form for small changes and easily can get the relationship. That's it. We have done something similar last week. I just redone this part. Okay, next question. This is an equation between U and rho. And what is the shape of the curve? Rectangular hyperbola. What is a rectangular hyperbola? Whenever we come across a rectangular hyperbola, but the quantity on the y-axis and quantity on the x-axis, xy is equal to constant kind of thing. That's a rectangular hyperbola. I think you're not done rectangular hyperbola yet in mathematics. So I'm doing this. So what does it imply here? The quantity u into rho is a constant. I need to find a relationship between P and V. How do we get from u into rho is equal to constant to P and V?
Rho is N by V.
The rho is proportional to actually 1 by volume, mass being constant. And what is u proportional to? Okay, we see every time we have relationship between PV and T. What is u proportional to?
Temperature.
Temperature. So in place of u, I can write some constant into temperature. In place of rho, I have some constant by volume. So the constant gets cancelled out. So this equation can also be written as T by V is equal to constant. So these two, but this u into rho is constant. These two relationship lead to T by V is equal to constant. But I need relationship between P and V here. I need a graph between P and V. So what I need to do next? I need between P and V. So in place of T, what is T? In T is proportional to what? T is proportional to PV. So in place of T, again constant will get cancelled out. So this implies PV by V is equal to a new constant, but it's still a constant, which implies pressure is constant. Pranav? Pranav Soma? Pranav, are you there today? No. Okay, let's move to next one. 1 mole of ideal diatomic gas undergoes a process like this. What is molar heat capacity of the process? How would I calculate this one? I would calculate what is this process. This is not one of the standard process. This is a polytropic process, what we are discussing. Isotopic process, PV raised to power E is equal to constant kind of process. But this is not given in form of PV. So can we convert this equation into form of PV? Then I can use the formula for molar heat capacity for that process equal to R divided by 1 minus A plus CV. So what I need to, any process which is given, I need to convert into form of P and V. Can I convert into P and V? Right now it is given is equal to P is equal to some constant K1 divided by T square. Or you can say PT square is equal to some constant K1. I want relationship in terms of V. So what I do in place of T, but T is proportional to what? T is proportional to PV. So whenever such thing is given, you just simply substitute. It becomes a new constant. So which is P cube V square is equal to some constant K2. What should I do next now? I want to convert in this standard form. The process of power of P has to be 1. So I have to take cube root of this both sides. If I take cube root now, or 1/3 power of this, P because P raised to power 2 by 3 is equal to new constant K3, but it's still a constant. So what I get from here, from this, basically my aim is to reduce any process to the standard polytropic form, which is PV raised to power A is equal to constant. Power of P being 1. So here what I find, A is equal to 2 by 3. If A is 2 by 3, what is C of the process? R divided by 1 minus 2 by 3 plus CV, which is diatomic goes is 5R by 2. Shreya,
Yes, sir.
have you understood?
Yes, sir.
So do I have to do 5 problems like this, or 1 problem is enough?
One problem is enough.
Okay. So you follow that one, you convert. That's the advantage of doing polytropic process. Any process I can convert. And if heat transfer and all, we can calculate accordingly. Okay. Next question. Hollow insulator cylinder filled gas also contains gas at the middle point. So this is there somewhere. There's a piston right in the middle. So let's say this length is each side total length is L. So this also is L by 2. This also is L by 2. Both are at 0 degree centigrade. Just trying to convert the contain insulated piston. How is the piston? Piston is insulated. Why the wording insulated is given? So that heat transfer is equal to 0. So in this case, okay, one side is heated. So one side afterwards, it becomes like this. One side is raised to 100 degree centigrade.
It can transfer through the piston also, right?
What I say? So piston heat. See, if a heat transfer takes place through piston, let's say gas on one side, piston is heated to 100 degree. What does this question imply? The other side also will be 100 degree or something else? See, the question is not, yeah. So basically, it implies that other side, this side temperature becomes 100 degree centigrade. Other side temperature remains 0 degree centigrade. When can this happen? I think the wording should be this piston is insulating.
They said that, right? So first line, last word.
Sorry, I didn't. Huh? I mentioned gas on the side.
First line, sir. First line, sir.
Insulated piston. It's clear. Okay, and that's a very clear insulated piston of negligible radiant thickness. So this becomes 100 degree. This becomes 0 degree centigrade, and it has moved by what length? It has moved by 5 centimeter. So this means this length has become L by 2 plus 5. This is L by 2 minus 5. So we have to find L by L. How would I find? Well, how do I find the equation? See, if earlier, see, initial case, they were in the middle. So number of moles here, number of moles will be equal. And how do I use this conditional position of piston? What is what kind of piston it is? Negligible weight and negligible thickness, a smooth piston. The smooth piston, what does this imply? If we come to new position, what would be special about the new position? Something has to be same. What would be the same?
Number of moles.
Number of moles, yes, number of moles remain equal. That's one part. So the moles on this side will be equal to moles on this side. Something else also has to be same.
Pressure
What is
on
the
the side.
equilibrium position of the piston?
PV, sir.
Pressure has to be equal. So pressure on left side has to be equal to pressure on right side. Is that difficult to arrive at? So whenever you have smooth piston, it implies when it smooth piston coming to rest implies pressure on either side is equal. If it is, had it been vertical, then weight quickly will come. But in case of horizontal, pressure per piston in equilibrium implies what? So can I form an equation now? Equation in equilibrium implies pressure on either side equal. Okay, and number of moles are equal. So is this side also it will have some PV1 by T1 has to be equal to PV2 by T2. The number of moles are equal. RR gets cancelled. So I simply equated the number of moles. So two things I've used. Number of moles on the left hand side is equal to number of moles on the right hand side. That equation is PV by RT for left hand side is equal to PV by RT for right side. And the second thing what I use, the pressure is equal. So what does this imply? V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Now it is easy to solve. What is V1? V1 is equal to area cross section. So L by 2 plus 5 divided by temperature. Temperature is 373 is equal to L by 2 minus 5 divided by 273. That's the equation. You can get the value of it. Anish?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so basically what are things I have used? See, the first part of the information, why it was important, first part of the information gave us this bit of information, okay, that number of moles on either side are equal. And then piston coming to equilibrium gives us the pressure is equal. And we just use the condition, most number of moles equal. And this is very common kind of thing. Many questions we use something like this, number of moles being constant. And we solve, we get the answer. Good question. So it is constant pressure process for monatomic gas. What is work done? So I can do in slightly different way also. This ratio remains constant. If it is a monoatomic gas, what is delta U equal to in terms of heat capacity? F by 2R. In case of monoatomic gas, it will be 3R by 2. And what is this one term is? R. And this term is 5R by 2. So what is work done by delta Q? What is work done by these ratios are same. What is work done by delta Q is equal to R divided by 5R by 2. The ratios are for a particular question is the same. So basically, whenever you have heat ratio, this work done and this delta U. We know in case of constant pressure process, this term is R. Cv plus R is equal to Cp. Cp is equal to R plus Cv. That's the equation I have written. So you can easily calculate that one, supply to keeping constant. Okay, I think this time is almost up. So I'll stop here and maybe you can do some few more questions which are there in the sheet in the work session.
Thank you, sir.